Until recently, due to the major shift in the competitive PUBG scene, playing TPP has always been frowned upon. But if you're a pro TPP player like me, you already know its major advantages. You master rotations and positioning faster than most FPP players, because controlling the terrain that maximizes your TPP camera angle often leads you to the chicken dinner. You learn patience early, because in TPP, just sending it gets you killed way more than an FPP. And since you're constantly gathering information without exposing yourself, you end up mastering reading your opponents. TPP builds real game sense, there is no debate there. But there's the thing, it also quietly builds habits that will cap your ceiling as a player, and most TPP players have no idea it's happening. Today, we are going to break down the most common mistakes that TPP is making you reinforce and how to fix them. In FPP, your eye naturally locks into the crosshair. In TPP, your eye locks onto your character and its shiny skins. That single difference is the root of the most common mistake TPP players make, which is crosshair placement. Here, we're not talking about aiming at the body instead of the head. Here we are talking about your crosshair pointing at nothing, completely disengaged from the fight. It happens because the TPP camera makes your character the visual anchor and not your crosshair. And PUBG makes it worse. The crosshair widens when you move, it is light in color, and in outdoor environments, it just disappears into the scenery. The fix sounds almost too simple. Whenever you are not actively gathering information behind a wall or a ridge, play in first person. That way we minimize the time per session with bad crosshair placement. And your crosshair stays engaged, you're ready to fire instantly in case of surprises. However, we still have a problem. Gathering information means you are using your TPP camera to see around cover or over a ridge without exposing yourself. It is one of TPP's biggest advantages, but there is a trap inside it. When you angle your camera down to peek over a ridge, you're forcing your crosshair to the ground. The information you just gathered could get you killed, because now you have to correct your aim by a massive amount before you can even fire. So ask yourself one question before you TPP peek. Is the information worth the aim reset it costs me in CQC or close quarter combat? The answer is usually no. Once you keep that idea in your mind, you will realize that many lost fights would have turned into wins if it wasn't for the TPP camera. One last helpful tool and tip is to enable your monitor's fixed crosshair from your monitor's display settings. It doesn't violate PUBG's terms of service, it never blends into the environment, and it will make bad crosshair placement impossible to ignore. Here's something almost nobody talks about. When you ADS in FPP, the transition is tight. Your crosshair and your ADS point of aim are close together. So the correction you need to make is small and predictable. Now watch what happens in TPP. Because the camera sits behind and above your character, there is a large offset between where your crosshair was and where your gun actually points at when you ADS. That gap means that every time you go to scope in, you're making a bigger micro adjustment than an FPP player has to do. This is why sticking to FPP in active engagement isn't just about crosshair placement, it's about consistency. In FPP, what you aim at is what you hit. In TPP, there is a translation step happening every single time, and under pressure, those major micro adjustments will cost you. This ADS offset connects directly to pre-aiming, and this is where TPP creates a skill gap that works against you on the long term. Because you can see around corners without exposing yourself, you always know exactly where your opponent is before the fight starts. You pre-aim the precise spot, you peek, you fire, it's clean. You get the kill. The problem is that your opponent, especially an FPP player, never had that luxury. They have spent hundreds of hours learning to micro adjust on the fly, to read movement, to correct with precision mid-fight. You've spent the same time preloading the answer. When you finally face a situation where you can't pre-aim, your adjustment muscle is underdeveloped, your reactions are very slow, and therefore you end up losing every fight that isn't an easy one. So have the courage to switch to FPP more often, or you will never experience real progress. A blind man develops extreme hearing senses, and a deaf man develops extreme sight senses. This brings us to what is quietly the most damaging long-term habit TPP builds, the underdevelopment of audio cues. In FPP, sound is survival. You can't see around walls, so you listen. Footsteps tell you the direction and the distance. The rhythm of steps tells you if someone is crouch walking or rushing. A reload sound or a grenade pin tells you your window. FPP players build this instinct early because they have no alternative. In TPP, you have the camera. So why listen when you can just look? So you stop listening, not consciously, but gradually. You become a visual player. The consequences show up in layers. You lose precision in CQC the moment a fight moves into a space where you can't safely fish with the camera, a tight building, a staircase, a vehicle push. You're suddenly blind in a way an FPP player never is. You misread or miss locations entirely. Audio in PUBG gives you directional information that the TPP camera physically cannot. What's behind you, what's 2 floors up, and what's approaching you from a blind side. If you've trained yourself to ignore it, that information simply doesn't register even when it's there. And finally, to the most subtle but significant issue with TPP cameras. When you freely rotate the TPP camera independently of your character, your brain's audio-visual link breaks down. The sound is coming from the north, but you're looking south, and the directional audio gets processed incorrectly because your visual frame of reference doesn't match. In simple words, you will not understand where the sound is coming from because you are 360 rotating your free camera around your character. FPP players don't have this problem. Where they look is where they face, always. The fix is easy. Start treating audio as your primary information source in buildings and CQC and force yourself to act on it before reaching to your camera. It will feel slow at first, but that discomfort is the skill gap closing. Since we are approaching the 2K subscribers, I will be doing a mouse giveaway once we hit it. So make sure to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.
It definitely makes footsteps clearer, but it makes gunshots a little confusing.
Yep.
Everything just kind of sounds equally close. You definitely hear footsteps way better.
True.
And I've tried sound lock as well, but I didn't like the way
It compresses.
kind of had the same problem of like gunshots anywhere from like 30 meters away to 2 meters away sounded the same.
Start wondering what the hell.
But you can certainly hear footsteps better.
Yeah, I know.
Like it just kind of depends on like would you rather hear shot, like would you rather have footstep cues or sound or like name cues and gunshot cues. But I think even at the pro level, people can't really decide. You know, so
I took someone's air. No, no, no! I'm almost going to take someone's.
are you in a glider or something?
Oh my god, I took it! Yes! No, no, I was able to steal someone's pickup. Oh my god, that was so clutch. I really needed that. Because it's on a bridge.
Yeah, it's really done.
So this guy is so mad. Okay, let's try to fuck around now. Let's do some wacky jacky shit. I'm gonna try to hijack the crate while it's dropping. I think the only thing that's going to get hijacked is my that parachute. Oh my god!